Hey, welcome everybody. I'm your host Gabriel Gutierrez for the Squeegee podcast. I'm so excited to have you guys with us today, and especially happy to have Tyler Blue with us. How you doing, Tyler?
Hello, howdy, howdy. Thanks for having me.
Hey, man, it's so good to see you. You're someone who not only has been a loyal viewer, listener of Squeegee podcast for a while, but you're in my hometown. You're one of my
Yep.
competitors, right? You're one of the guys I'm trying to beat and trying to outsell all the time. So I'm happy to have you on here because I do want to talk a little bit about cleaning windows in the desert. It's a different kind of window cleaning, and I think people who haven't cleaned here don't always understand the challenges that we're up against here. So we'll definitely talk about that. But I had a chance to meet you. You won one of the Squeegee hats in that we had as a drawing early on in the podcast. And when I delivered it, we stopped at Chipotle. We had some
Yep.
burritos there. We got a chance to talk and get to know each other. And you just have a really interesting background on how you came into window cleaning. So definitely want to get into that. But first off, how's everything going? How's business?
Oh, okay. So, monsoon season kicked in. And, before that, I average about like 3 weeks booked out. I don't have employees. And so it's just what I have to do. It's not,
Right.
we don't like to be that far booked out because in that amount of time, a client can easily go with someone else. But that's just what I average. And I'm like, all right. And I remember on one of your podcasts too, you're like, oh yeah, like, well, we're going up to Pine Top just because it's slowing down. And I'm
Yep.
like, oh no, I'm booked up. Lo and behold, my hits very next day. Monsoons just come because the air pressure changes, and
Yeah.
phone calls completely stopped. I have a good set of clients where we just have the relationship. Hey, you know what? It's looking like it's going to rain this week. Let's push it back next week. And they're okay. Yeah, cool.
Yeah.
A lot of people on the reoccurring solar cleanings, they're like, hey, you know what? I think we should wait until September, October. I'm like, oh, my bills don't wait that long though, but you can't push them into it. It's your house,
Right.
it's not my house. Like, well, we are guests there. If we try
Yeah.
to get pushy, we could potentially lose the client, and that's money in the long run.
Yeah.
So it
Hey,
just
Peter Cruz, Peter Cruz, he's been on the podcast. He used to be the co-host for a while. He says, I'm a desert rat too. He's in New Mexico.
okay.
So he also knows.
Yeah.
And it's funny. I went over there when we were doing some filming for the Squeegee U modules. And I got, we could follow some of his crew. And I was like, man, New Mexico feels a lot like Tucson. Doesn't feel like
Oh, yeah.
Phoenix, but it feels like Tucson. Yeah. They're in, he's in Las Cruces.
Okay.
And just the house styles, the weather, they have a lot of houses, flat roofs, stucco. It just really had a Tucson feel. I was like, you know what, I could totally see myself cleaning windows over here because I already kind of have that feeling of it. It just really felt very natural, very, very familiar, even though it was a whole
Absolutely.
different city. Yeah.
Absolutely. Yeah.
But-
Like it is
but
different
sorry.
for us. But go ahead. Go ahead.
Oh, no. I didn't want to cut you off. I was just going to say, continue on with your, talking about to customers about trying to, it's like you want to convince them, you want to try and get them to do things, especially when it's not their reasoning isn't logical. It's just kind of more a perceived issue.
Yeah.
But so what do you do in that? So you said sometimes, you don't want to be pushy, but have you found any type of reasoning that's been successful to kind of get them to go over?
It's sometimes it all depends on where they are geographically. Like some areas in town get hit way differently than the rest of us. I'm on the north side of town. It's super open and flat where I'm at. I can see all the storms roll in and nothing hits. Last night we had a dust storm. People's trees snapped in half in my neighborhood, but a couple single drops of rain. Rest of Tucson got hammered.
Yeah.
And so it's always going to be different. Like I said, depending on where you are, you're not always going to have dust. All right, cool. If you did a really good job on the windows, quad zero, spots don't really stick that much. Like, just rain. So, usually my clients in the Catalina foothills, they're closer to the mountain, a lot less dust. Their windows can last longer than my clients out here in the lowlands. So it is easier to try to keep them more consistent without the gaps. But just like, our guys up north who have to accommodate for winter season, right? Okay.
Yeah.
Oh, poor us. A couple of weeks we have to adjust ours when they have to wait a couple months. So
Right.
it's proper planning that comes into running a business efficiently. If you don't do it
Yeah.
right, you're like, oh, and in your case, you have employees. Those are something you have to
Yeah.
keep an eye out. You're innovating. Okay, cool. We're going to shift entire areas of the whole state. We're going to Pine Top.
Yeah. Yeah.
So
Yep.
make those choices.
100%, man. 100%. I find over the years I've gotten better, like what I call, what a lot of people call, schmoozing, kind of talking to customers and kind of, talking about their concerns, talking to them about what they're worried about, and then trying to reason with them on, hey, well, look, I know you're nervous about this. Let me show you why you don't need to be this, and then I always say we guarantee our work. So if this does become the issue that you're afraid of, I'm gonna take care of it. So don't worry, you're not going to be left in the lurch. If we got to come back and redo these, it's fine. But I promise you, I've done this, for 6 years. If you let us do this, you're going to be fine. Sometimes you win them over, sometimes you don't. But I find that for number one, do it in person. Don't do it over the phone.
Oh, for sure.
If you ever try to schmooze over the phone, that's when you run into problems, especially if you're trying to overcome wrong thinking or just not even necessarily wrong thinking, but incorrect thinking, just because they're looking at it from a non-window cleaner's point of view. You can come off sounding condescending. You can come off sounding insincere. So I always, if anybody a customer had said that we had left spots, I knew there was a broken seal. We told them it was a broken seal. We explained to them what a broken seal was. And then they're like, oh, Gabe, we looked at the sun this morning and there's some, I knew that's what it was. I knew exactly the window. I knew what it was. But when she called, I didn't argue it over the phone. I did not, because it's easy to say, oh no, I told you, remember I told you, and then you start trying to convince them and then they start getting defensive. So you just make an appointment. It's a trip. But when you get there, you walk up, hey, why don't you show me the window you're concerned about? Oh, you know what? I thought that's what the window it was. Let me just show you something. Why don't you run your finger over the window, And I show them you can't touch it. You can't touch the stain. I'll bring my mop out, wet it, squeegee it, show them it doesn't move. You see, it's in between the panes. It's not anything I can do. That's why I had a discussion with you about it. But just so you know, it's not anything we did or can do. It's just a broken window. Here's a referral to a guy who can come give you a replacement window quote if you want, So, schmoozing is a skill, man, and I think it's really easy to revert to the negative part where you're talking, you're like talking down to the customer and you're saying, well, I'm a window cleaner and I know this XYZ, and that can just come, across as really bad, and you can just really mess that up here. Oh, Mike Nichols says he's missing his daily nap for this. I think don't you take like 3 naps a day, Mike? I think you take 3 naps. So 2 naps is fine. You can endure.
It's like having second breakfast.
Fine. Yeah, second breakfast. We got a few people in here. So we got Doug Apt from Jay Racenstein. He was a guest just recently. That was good to have him. John Liberté, he's in. How you doing, John? Of course, Mike Nichols, as always. He pops in once in a while. And Squeegee Chick, Jessica, good to see you. Charles Smith. Hey, Charles, how you doing? I've been meaning to text you, man. I just wanted to see how your daughter was doing, how she's recovering from the cleanup, and if you guys were able to find a place, or if the apartment complex was able to move her somewhere that was better. But so sorry you guys had to go through all that, and just hope everything's going well. Codreen is in. He says, good afternoon, gentlemen. I'm up and down the ladder, but happy to be able to listen to you. Just keep your hands on the ladder, Codreen. We'll be talking to you. We appreciate you listening in. And then let's see some other people. Bellamere Solar Cleaning. What's up, dude? We do have solar screens. We'll talk solar screens for sure, 100%. Let's see here. I think that's about it so far. Who've checked in, although we got some eyeballs on the screen, so we'll definitely do that. But why don't we talk desert window cleaning? So what, in your opinion, what makes desert window cleaning different from other parts of the country?
We don't have the organic that I feel like a lot of areas get. And so, in my case, it's not just window cleaning. I do solar panels. You look up north, you're getting moss, lichen, whatever.
Yeah.
just like they get, in the rest of the world. In our case, it's a lot of dirt. Arizona, the state just erodes itself.
Yeah.
And so when you have that much dirt going through the air, you have those micro particulates on the glass. And so
Yes.
it's a lot of using a blower, it's vacuuming, just making sure we're not scratching the glass, and a little bit more
Right.
attention to detail. Can't
Yes.
just jump straight to water and just start scrubbing it in.
Yep. And so when you, that's why I tell people is there's a buildup on the glass that you don't see in other parts. It's hard to explain. It's just our desert dirt, because dust is everywhere. I mean, you guys, you don't understand. Like, you can go dust your house, and half an hour later, there's another layer of dust on there, inside your house. It's everywhere. And even if you have really well sealed house and you have, HEPA filters on your air conditioner and all this stuff, dust just gets everywhere. You open the door, dust comes in. So that when it accumulates on the windows over time, especially if it's not washed quarterly or even every 6 months, it gets like a film on there that you don't really see. So a lot of people who don't use any type of abrasive pad, a white pad or walnut pad or steel wool or something, when they're doing their first cleans, and it's a non-routine clean, maybe a new customer, or they only have their windows cleaned once a year, you can clean the windows, it looks good, and then as soon as the sun hits it, there's a film on there that the customer notices. And I remember when I first started cleaning windows, it's probably a good 3 years into it, I started getting callbacks. I'm like, I don't know why I'm getting callbacks on here. I know I did that house really well. And I'd go back and look, and then sure enough, in the sun, you see this, and I couldn't figure out what it was. And it took a while for it to occur to me that, oh, this is buildup. This is different. And that's when I started using the white pads. That's when I started using those. And so every first clean, we use the white pad, just get it off. And then if we have a quarterly cleaning, we don't necessarily have to use it, because it's not long enough for that buildup to get there. There's a buildup there. So you do have to use that. Now, unfortunately, I had 2 videos I wanted to show of yours that you have on TikTok that illustrate that, because I saw you were cleaning some, there were sliders, and you had a white pad on the end of a pole. And one of the things I hear people complaining about in the forums is people are like, oh, you guys are putting way too much water on the glass, and you guys soak it up, and then you put the white pads on there just to make it all soapy, so that it looks better when you're fanning for the video. And I always come back. I'm like, dude, I live in the desert. You have to do that.
Oh yeah,
that's not a choice. It's not for video effects.
No, not at all.
You have to have it soaking, and you have to suds it up with the scrubber to make sure you get it off. So, how long did it take for you to kind of get your style of how to handle that type of the desert environment for window cleaning?
Being that I don't come from any sort of cleaning background, the only cleaning background I have is being a certified janitor, also known as Marine. And so I just jumped into it. My first cleanings, horribly wrong. I started with a pressure washer to rinse out all the framing. Worst thing you could do. But in my head, we live and we learn, right? So, doing the cleanings, I'll be honest, I watch a lot of your videos. I watch, the guys from WCR. I watch their videos. So it's like, okay, this works. This doesn't work. Okay, what are the type of abrasives I can use on glass? Okay, walnut pads. Well, at the time, pretty much almost, I think I launched solar cleaning a few months after window cleaning. So I had, walnut pads on hand. And so I'm like, okay, let's try this. And I'm like, oh, the glass is coming out way better. Different situations call for different equipment. So, some situations I'd rather use Quad Zero than walnut pads. More routine. All right, cool. You don't have to just use the walnut pad. You can use a white pad. I feel like the walnut pad's a little more aggressive. Yes. But to each their own. Like, it's just having the tools in your toolbox when the time calls for it.
Yeah, I think that's important. I like the walnut pads better as well. I like the white pads, the thicker ones. Those are good for interior. especially when you're doing a house that maybe hasn't been cleaned in a while, or maybe there's like a lot of there's smokers residue.
Yep.
I think the white pads work really well. But when you need a good abrasive scrub, the walnut pads are. I do miss the bronze wool. I know there's been a while where people have
I want to experience it.
Yeah, it's just so nice because they never rust, so they last forever.
Yeah, that'd be so cool.
And you know, you could just keep using them. But there's a whole story, and we'll have to let the Lamborghini's brothers tell the story about that, because they used to stock it all the time, and then now they don't, and it's just really hard to find. So I think Mike Nichols might know some of that as well. He knows some of that backstory. But yeah, there was definitely a sad thing when it stopped being sold all the time. But the walnut pads are great. I use those, and steel wool. I mean, it's just so cheap to find. You know, you can find it anywhere, and it does a good job. Doug App mentioned that when he lived in Phoenix, he had solar screens, and he says they suck to clean. So any non-desert people, you may not have had the pleasure of cleaning solar screens. Bellamere Solar Cleaning guy, he said that he never heard of them. So what is your go-to way? Well, first of all, you have to understand what solar screens are, right? So they're a thicker screen, it's heavier. So you need to have the framing around. It needs to be thicker than the normal bug screens. But it's got like little bumps on it, and it's designed to refract the light. So when the sun comes in, rather than it going straight through into your home, it kicks it back out, and it sends it in all kinds of different directions to disperse the heat on that. So effective, you know, what it's meant to do, it does a great job. I mean, it keeps the temperature down in the house when you're living in the desert. So that part's great. The problem is, because it's got the little indentations and the little grooves, it holds the dust so well,
and the water too. That they take forever
the dust
to dry.
And the water. And if you try to clean it the way you would normally clean a bug screen, it's going to look horrible. I don't know. What was your first experience cleaning a solar screen like?
I don't have them on my house, and so I'm like, okay, you know, this can't be too hard. You know, the different situations is how they're adhered to the house. There's like very strong outdoor Velcro. Those are a pain. I'd rather, you know, you get a Phillips screwdriver, you undo the casement clips. All right, cool. But on big windows, it's a single screen. A lot of times the people that made these screens, they didn't put in supports. So it is the most wobbliest, you know, back and forth screen you'll ever deal with. And it's heavy. And so you're trying to not break it.
Heavy?
You know, a client's watching you, you know, it's cumbersome. And so you're trying to be as careful as possible. I ran them as careful as possible through my screen cleaner, and I'm like, my hands are all up and everything, and I'm trying to, you know, get in. And then depending on the time of day, the wind kicks up, and so because there's water in it, and you just turn into a sail. They're a pain. They truly are. So I've definitely changed my methods. I don't always like to clean them, but you got to do what you got to do. Don't wait.
So you don't. Yeah, you. If it's windy, almost sometimes I've even canceled jobs because they had solar screens. I remember I was up on a 2-story house, and I was undoing the solar screens, and I'm on the extension ladder, kind of leaning on it, and I have the screen in one hand, and it's heavy, right? Yeah. It's got weight to it. It's not like a bug screen that you can just flap around. And this gust of wind came from nowhere, and my arm just went whoo, and the ladder went like this, and I just dropped it. Because I was like, I'm not going with that thing,
it's
with
not
that
worth
sail.
It. Honestly, it's not worth it.
And thankfully the screen was fine. You know, there was dirt down on the bottom. It didn't hit like cement or any other concrete or anything, so it was fine. Nothing happened to it. But that was so scary. And so now when I take them off, I do it. I put the ladder above it in 2 hands, and I bring it down, and then I hold it against the ladder. So I've got, you know, if a wind comes one way or the other, I've got a little bit of leverage on it to keep it from going too far. But that was a scary thing, man, boy. And so, yeah, if you don't deal with the solar screens on a regular basis, they're heavy. They look horrible once they get old. Like the sun just bakes them, and it's discolored. Now there are some like oils that you can add to it that people like Screen Magic
and
some others. Yeah, I don't like using those because they look great when you first apply it, but in the desert, within a week, it's just got all kinds of stuff on it because
I
it's
don't
sticky.
think this is the
Yeah,
place for it.
no, it's not. If it was interior screens, absolutely, 100%.
Mhm.
But the solar screens are applied outside, so I
Yeah,
mean, it's
yeah.
just gonna
Well,
within a
one of
week,
the
it's
things
gonna
I
look
find
horrible
though,
again.
there's a big majority of the solar screens installed improperly.
Yeah.
One of my clients, very nice house,
Hmm.
and I put the screens exactly on how I found them. His, his company comes, to check on the screens, and they're like, hey, these are wrong.
Yeah.
So of course
Yeah.
the client calls me and says, hey, you need to fix this. Okay, I messed up. I'm sorry. Right? It's how I found them, but whatever. So I went onto a community page for making solar screens, and I asked, like, what is the proper orientation? Do you want spline out? That's how it's supposed to be, or spline in? Because the majority of houses you go to spline in. It just more looks better aesthetically.
It
But
does,
you
and it
want
protects the spline too.
so spline's the cheap part. The material and the canvas is the expensive part.
Hmm.
It's spline out because you want the material further away from the glass. It causes a air buffer. So all science aside, right?
Yeah.
It's a lot of running into this situation, and it goes up miles when you tell a client, hey, I just want to be upfront with you. These screens are expensive. I know they are.
Yeah.
I'm selling that portion of my business. I don't want to make screens anymore of that style. If you change this around, you'll get like 5, 6 more years out of your screens. And they're like, oh, I didn't know that. Oh, okay.
Yeah.
And just knowledge in what we do goes
That's
miles
it.
with people.
And just so you know, I wasn't saying that we should have the splines out. I'm saying that's what the customers say. That's what they tell you why they want it out, or why they want it protected. And same thing. I've had that discussion so many times, and it is counterintuitive because normally most other screens, right, the regular bug screens, it's a spline in. You see the frame. You kind of and so that's what they're used to seeing. But 100%, you don't want that. You don't want that screen up against the hot glass.
Yeah. So, but back to the desert, it will etch the glass.
Mm-hmm. Yep. It'll cook right into it. And we've had to do restorations with that for sure. 100%. Bellamere Solar Clean says, do you take the screens off to the windows from the outside or inside? We usually put on booties and go into the customer's house. For solar screens, you have to do it on the outside. They're applied on the outside. So it's not like you have a choice. Some screens, you can take them out from either inside or outside. And if it's a 2-story house, we typically take the screens out first. But the solar screens, they're screwed on from the outside. There's tabs, or worst case scenario, they screw right through the frames into the house. And that's miserable because not only is it extra work to take all those screws out, because you might even need a drill, but then to line it up enough where all the holes match. I mean, I've literally had to just screw in new spots because it was not matching up.
Yep.
And houses settle and the screen adjusts once you take it off, and then it's not matching perfectly.
They'll never go back again.
Oh, nightmare. So hopefully they have tabs, but either way, you have to take them off from the outside on that. But yeah, bug screens, absolutely. If it's 2-story, 3-story, we'll just take them off from the inside so we don't have to mess with them while we're up on a ladder. But yeah, unfortunately, not with solar screens. Yep, that is not it. Hey, Adam Hogan's here. How you doing, bud? Good to see you. Thanks for checking in. But okay, so cleaning solar screens. So let me I don't know if anybody in the group here. So you use the screen cleaner. I haven't found much success with the screen cleaner, mainly because of the size of them. And like I said, because of those things. So what I do, this is how I do. I basically have given up trying to get it perfect. So I have a 2-foot horsehair brush. And I get them at their local janitorial store. Okay. So I first we dust them. So I've got one of those flat microfiber pads that are used for tile or for wood floors, I buy them at Walmart. It's just a nice rectangle size microfiber pad. So we dust the screens first, one side, the other side, then back on the other side, get the dust off, wet them down with the water. And then with the horsehair brush, we dip it in soap and we go back and forth. So one section is back and forth, and then we go down, that section back and forth, and if it's long enough, one more back and forth. So what we're doing, because I know it's still going to leave residue on the screen, but the back and forth motion kind of lines up with the screen, and it's not noticeable. Yeah, it's not noticeable. I noticed when I first started cleaning, I was doing circles, and then it dries, and you see the circles on there. So the back and forth kind of, if there's any residue left on the screen, it's more or less lined up with the screen lines on there, and it doesn't look bad at all. It looks pretty good. So ever since I've done that, I've not had any callbacks on my screens. But in the beginning days, yeah, we used to have a ton of callbacks just because there would be a bunch of swirls left on the solar screens that the customers didn't like. But a pain in the butt, man. They're great for what they do. If you need to keep your house cool, they're great.
They work.
If you need to clean them, they're horrible. They're just horrible. It's nothing good about them. Making them's hard, installing them's hard, cleaning them's hard, maintaining them's hard. They're just a lot for sure. Yeah. All right, so that's our complaining about solar screens done. So now about the heat. Now about the heat. So I will agree with some of the southern and east and west coast and east coast people that are higher up where they have a lot of humidity. Humidity is tough with the heat, no doubt, 100%.
Oh yeah.
I've worked in 90% humidity places. It's not fun. That's super hard. You worked in high humidity places, right?
Yeah. My previous job was a government position. And so we had a job in Texas. It was 115 and 100% humidity.
Yeah.
I wish that on nobody.
Dude,
Texas
that's an
should
oven.
Not be a place.
That's a convection oven right there.
Yeah, no, thank you.
Yeah,
no, thank you.
Yeah. So what are some precautions that you take with the dry heat? So we have a dry heat. I just went up to Casa Grande last weekend, and I opened the door, and it was literally like opening an oven when you're making a dish, and it's just like and you walked out we went to Circle K, and I just like, this is literally an oven. It feels like an oven. And I'm from Tucson, but Casa Grande and Phoenix are just on a whole other level.
They're just built different. Yeah. So like for anyone that doesn't know or has never been to Arizona, it can be 4:00 in the morning. Okay. You're getting ready for a very early job. You open the door, and it's just like that, opening the oven. Yeah. This last summer, super early mornings, get into my truck, 4:00 in the morning is already 105. Like, it's gross. Starting out, because like I said, price service Marine, I'm just stubborn. You always think you're stronger than Mother Nature. First year, I almost died on a roof because I was just like, 5 more feet. Yeah. I'm doing a bird screening in this case. Yeah. Just telling myself, okay, just hang in there. I have, a shirt on, and I thought I had my hat and I was good, and just, keep telling yourself, no, worst decision I ever made. It's not worth it. So, these times of year, every morning I go to Circle K, I'm buying a gallon of water. I don't care if I have extra in the truck. I'm buying another gallon just in case.
Yeah.
I have one of those goofy TikTok hats that has the fans in it. And they're solar powered, and they're blowing air on me. I went to Home Depot. I bought those little necklaces that have the fans on them. Like, I don't care how ridiculous I look. Like, this is my business. I have to provide for my family. And if I can't provide, I might need to find a different job, right? And so, what do you do in Arizona? You have to keep yourself, healthy as well. You can only take in so many electrolytes. So like we bought these, I think they're called like Salt Stick or something like that. And it's one tablet for every 30 minutes you've been in the sun. Yep. So I don't care if I have to eat 8 of them. The level of cramps you'll get from not taking care of yourself will literally make a grown man cry. Like, it hurts. Yep. So
and you have to take breaks. You have to take breaks, and then I tell my employees all that too, because and look, if you're a good worker, you feel guilty, taking a break every 30 minutes or so.
Yeah.
But I'm like, look, your body can only take so much. It's okay, if you're working exterior only, you got to take a 10-minute break every 30 minutes. Just go to the truck, drink something, rest, cool down. If you have a place to go inside, cool down a bit, and then get ready to go back out. But you can't keep pushing yourself as if it, you're, like you said, as if you're just this machine that can just muscle through the heat, because you can endure the physical part of the heat, as far as the feeling of the heat on your body. It's what's happening inside that you can't.
It's called shutting down.
It shuts down 100%.
It has its way.
And once it starts, that's it. It's gone. So you have to. You have to stop before it gets to that point. So heat stroke, anything that's any heat related illness is not a joke, and you're not a wimp if you take a break to avoid that, because once it starts, man, it just goes downhill. And even if once it starts, even if you go to a cool place, it's too late. You're gonna go through the cycle, and your body's gonna start shaking. You're gonna start, first you stop sweating, because you don't have anything, and then it's just horrible. It's a horrible experience. You might have to go to the emergency to be treated. So just hydrate as much as you can. Nick Anderson says hydrate or dihydrate.
I was looking at that one.
So Nick, how you doing? Yeah. So 100%. So just be smart about it. Have the drinks, like you see, and I think that's a really important case too. You can only use the electrolytes so much. They only do so much. They're great, and they're definitely needed when you're pushing your body, but they're not a cure-all. It's not like you can just drink electrolytes all day long and you'll be fine. And there's a limit to it. There's a cap. So have them, but don't just rely on them 100%.
Absolutely.
Okay, very cool.
You gotta try to implement at least a day prior, just to get into your body.
Yep, very good. All right, well, let's take a break real quick. Let me watch a commercial.
All right.
Courtesy of Squeegee.
My name is Danielle Nunez. I am working in the Bay Area, and I'm a graduate from Squeegee. I owe my success to Gabe, and the fact that he spent so much detailed time with me really gave me a leg up to the competition that there is out there, and made me have a successful start in this business. I come from zero experience, zero skill, so everything that I learned and everything that I have been able to achieve has directly been influenced by Gabe and Squeegee U.
And if you're looking for assistance in helping whether it's technical or otherwise with your business, Squeegee U offers consultation. You can have a free 30-minute consultation visit with us to see if Squeegee U is right for you. So thanks so much for your time on that. Now I want to talk a little bit about you personally, Tyler. You got an interesting journey to window cleaning, and you have overcome quite a bit. So why don't you first tell us a little bit about some of your first jobs, where you came from. You did some RDS work, not window cleaning related, but it kind of led you in there. So why don't you tell us a little bit about what your journey was like?
Okay, so like I said, I did a lot of government work prior to all this. It was a lot of just travel, always gone. My kids are younger. I have 3 of them. But at the time when I started, it was my younger 2 boys, or I guess technically my older boys, but they were younger, and just gone and gone. I'm like, okay, I'm having a hard time making ends meet, which is really weird to say when you're working a government job.
Right.
But it is what it is. You have to figure out how you're gonna do it. I'm married, so I made a commitment. I was gonna take care of someone. And I brought 2 kids into the world. I'm definitely made a commitment. I'm going to take care of someone. I had more time than money. So I'm like, okay, I love working with my hands. I just have to do something. I fidget a lot. If you see me moving around, I have one of those little neatos. I just have to do something with my hands. You see me doing stuff with my face. I have little focus pouches. So that's what's going on. So, could be autism. Who knows? But so my uncle, I'm originally from Seattle. My uncle has had a window cleaning business / pressure washing. At the time, he was 30 plus years in business. I'm like, okay, I like working with my hands. It's beneficial to have a mentor you can ask those questions. Hey, how do I go about this? What happens if I run into this? So I'm like, okay, like I think this could be a good direction. It was, I think I started with the idea in November of 19. No, November 21. Okay. And so then Christmas came around and my whole family's like, hey, what do you want for Christmas? I'm like, I don't want anything, like, but if you do get me something, please just give me a gift card to Home Depot. It's quick and easy. I didn't know about, WCR. I didn't know about, any of the brands or, the supply houses. Right. So I went to Home Depot. I got, stuff for pressure washing. I got stuff for window cleaning. It's entry level. I know, don't hate me too much. And I went to Home Depot. I didn't go to Lowe's, and Lowe's has the Eterray. I know they're your favorite.
Yep.
So
Yep.
I'm an Unger guy. So I started
Ooh,
with
nice.
that. Right. I didn't have money for marketing. So, okay, how can I reach the most amount of people in the shortest amount of time and get training without, I only have weekends available. If you have a window cleaning business, you don't usually want to work weekends. You want to spend your time with your families. Are there hours available? At times. That probably would have been a quicker training route for me. But
Yeah.
like I said, I'm stubborn. So I went straight to I went straight to my neighborhood. My neighborhood it's one of the biggest developments in Southern Arizona.
And it's growing.
Yeah. And so I just posted, I'm like, hey, this is what I'm doing. I have more time than I know what to do with. I'd love to help you and just learn. And I gave them a very good discount because, yes, I wanted to make money, but I also needed to train, right? You need those testimonials. All right, cool. So you go and take care of those first couple clients. Those clients are taken care of. Like, they'll take care of me for life because I gave them a discount that no one could ever touch. And so it kind of locks them in. Little tip for anyone starting out. In the end, what's 10 people when you have a couple hundred? And so, it gets you those reviews off the bat. That's what people want to hear. So from there, I definitely had times where I was really questioning my decision. I put money into this. Was it worth it? My first year, come December, I only made like $200. I'm like, this is one of the worst decisions I've ever made. Like, how could I ever expect to survive?
Oh, we lost your mic there, Tyler.
Oh no.
There you go. We got you back.
Okay. Cool.
Yeah, we got you back. Just the last couple things you said there we couldn't hear.
Okay. Was talking about. Oh, my chair's shaking. That was weird. Sorry.
That's right. You're just talking about how you were thinking it was a bad decision, and you were wondering how you were going to provide for your family.
How I was gonna, I was gonna make ends meet. But in a field like this, you have to have faith in yourself. Just buckle down, stick to what you know. All right, cool. It gets slow. There's always going to be another customer. Are they easy to get to? No, not at all. But because you took care of those people and you waited it out, all right, cool. You did what you could. I had door hangers made. I hate when people come to my door, and every situation is different, right? I do not talk down on people who knock doors because it's being told no and no and no and no. Yeah. Then you get those yeses. I just don't like people knocking on my door. Especially when my kids were younger, they come and knock on the door, the baby's sleeping, this and that. If I can just leave a door hanger, leave you with my information, you had to pick it up and it was in your hand, and you had to walk to the trash can to throw it away. Along the way, it might just stay on your counter. And so that also helped me when it slowed down. After that, I was able to build a reputation. I was able to do this. I was able to do that. Expand my business. A lot of people want to launch a lot of things at one time instead of perfect a craft and then start to move into something else. Perfect that craft, move into something else. And so I definitely saw the value in getting decent. I'm not going to say I'm the best window cleaner, but that comes with time. It comes with repetition. And especially in the heat, because window cleaning is not the same in our sun compared to someone else's sun. There was a lot of learning. they're still learning.
Mm-hmm.
You've never, once you say I've learned it all, there's nothing else to learn. That's when someone like me comes and passes.
Mm-hmm.
Just part of the game.
Yep, absolutely. Yeah, definitely. So let me ask you: did you do door knocking in Gladden Farms in that area?
I've never knocked a door.
Oh, you never knocked a door. Okay, I thought you
just
left. But you left the door hangers though.
That's
okay.
It. You come
and
up to a camera,
they let you do that. Did they let you do that in there? That's allowable.
Uh-huh. Yeah,
okay.
The you'll come across the houses and say no soliciting.
Yeah.
You can only read it when you get to the door. Okay, if you wave at the camera, my bad. They're watching you anyways. Okay, and you just keep it moving. It's all right. They're not going to say, "Hey, this guy's going around and leaving door hangers." I read the sign. I walked away.
Yeah, for sure. I think that's the hard thing about Tucson. There are so many kind of places where it's hard to know. Like one community that's right next door to the other, one doesn't allow any type of soliciting.
Correct.
The other one is fine with it. So
Correct.
yeah, you definitely have to know your areas and be careful. I know we got in trouble. We went to what's that place over there?
Dove Mountain.
Not the mountain. No, we would never go to mountain. that place is not. Let's lock down, man. you get shot over there just for looking at a door. But no, it was over there by it was off of Twin Peaks. There was what's the name of that community right across? Continental Ranch. That's it. And there was one neighborhood when I checked, I saw there was no signage saying you couldn't. So same thing. We did flyers or door hangers. But then we crossed the street, I think, because it looked exactly the same.
Yeah.
And we got chewed out. And then sure enough, when we left, there was a sign that said no soliciting. But I had no idea. It looked exactly like the same community.
So what I do know, in Continental Ranch, there's a section where it's just, a normal neighborhood. That's probably what you're in.
Mm-hmm.
There's no signs, no gates or anything. You end up in a 50 and over community. It's all golf carts. And I guarantee it was that area. They're very, very strict over there.
Yeah, so you just have to be careful in Tucson. That's all. Yep.
I
okay.
Anywhere else?
Yeah, we don't do too many door hangers anymore. We used to do a lot a few years ago. Once in a while, we'll do it. I haven't really found a good ROI on it for the time invested in it.
Mm-hmm.
I think if I were a single owner operator, it probably would be a little better. But I'm paying guys probably by the hour to go run and leave door hangers. And, if you only get one call out of it, it's kind of like, I paid, how much labor did I pay to get that one call? So we stopped doing that a while ago. Although we still do it once in a while, especially if we know there's an area, like if there's an area where the builders installed a lot of gutters, we'll go through with door hangers for gutter cleaning. We'll just run through and leave it. Red Rock. And there's a few other places where the builders have, and all the houses have gutters. So we'll do that, but that's pretty much it. We don't really do it for window cleaning necessarily. Although all the flyers will have a coupon for window cleaning, but typically it's going to be like now, right? People aren't calling to have the windows clean because it's raining, but they do have backed up gutters. So if we can do help them with that, we can focus our energy on that. So, okay. So are you going to stay as a single owner operator? Is that your plan, or do you plan on hiring eventually?
So, every business is going to run into it, especially in the early stages. You and I are at very different stages. I'm way more earlier on. You have the experience. I'm trying to catch up, but if I move too fast, what happens to a business that moves too fast. I do want to hire someone. I don't want to be, a massive commercial business, but at the same time, I do want to make an impact on the area. Starting off, I did try to hire. There's two different directions I feel you could go. You can hire someone who's older, who's more responsible, but has very stuck habits, or you can hire someone that's younger, has no habits, but not as responsible. Mm-hmm. If you find someone in between that checks every box, hold on to him as best you can, because they're going to 100% jump when they can. So I tried hiring both directions. The first guy, he said it's too hot. We were up on a roof and he started yelling at the sun. I'm like, I've never seen this before. So You know,
have you seen that one meme going around where it's the sun and there's a guy just holding a gun pointing it at the sun? that's what he did. That's how he was.
I get it. Yeah, I get it. And so it just didn't work out with him. So then the younger kid, he just got out of high school. Okay, what does he know? I love to teach. So all right, cool. We get on the first job. I'm walking him through every step. I'm like, okay, just watch how I interact with the client. And then after that, we'll get the truck set up. But like, these are the little stepping stones I want to implement. And so, he sees everything. We get set up. Job went great. Job number 2, he's like, what do you want me to do? I'm like, you handle setup. I'll greet the customer. We'll get rolling. He did phenomenal. I'm like, oh, like, this is awesome. This is going to be great. Job number 3, we're putting bird spikes on a 2-story house. I set up the ladder. We get up there and he's sitting down. I'm like, okay, well, like, he's still working. I don't, not everyone's used to heights. Everyone comes from different lives. And he's like, hey, you know what? I don't think I can do this. If you have any single-story jobs, let me know. But
single-story jobs.
He's like, 2 stories, please do not call me. In this line of work, like, if I need you, then I cannot call you. But if I don't need you, I can call you. I just can't have you at all. It doesn't work like that.
No.
So right now, monsoons hit. It's slowed down. I'm taking care of, me. Green, you're growing. When you're ripe, you're rotten. Never think you know everything.
That's true. Never stop learning. Yep,
yeah, like
good.
There's always, room for growth. I see I see so many videos like Squeegee Chick or one of the WCR videos that they posted, pole work. I am garbage at pole work, probably because I'm using the wrong squeegee. Yeah, I get it. Yeah,
it takes practice. Unger actually, their 0 degrees pretty good. The old. I'm always we're like it's like a broken record. The original older 0 degree Unger was the best.
I hear great things about
the
it.
newer one's not as good. Yeah, but it's still good. It's still good for sure.
I have a 0 degree. I'm just running the wrong channel on it. It's weird, but I'll get it swapped out. I'll start practicing and getting better at it.
For beginners, honestly, the best is the Mormon accelerator. Yeah, that's the best one to start on because you can adjust the angle. So if you're struggling with one particular angle, you don't have to run it at 0. You can run it at 15% or whatever, which is a little easier if you're used to pulling, or used to using the pole with the squeegee with an angle. But you can adjust it, and it's a little bit easier. I personally use a wagtail. That was the only one I ever knew about when I first started using the swivel, and it's what I use. I'm used to. I can use a Mormon. I'm not really as good as it. Wagtail, I'm pretty good with the swivel, but honestly, 9 times out of 10, I'm just doing 7s. I'm just using my regular, Ed-Ray Leggies. I'm just doing 7s. I'm so fast at it. I mean, I've done, I did commercial for so long. And I'm just like doof, 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 going across. It's not much slower than the time when I use a swivel is when it's high and the ledges are high. Then that's nice because then I don't if I can close it out right, I can close it out on the side, and that saves me a ladder trip up to get the sill. If it's not needed, sometimes, especially if it's an interior, you do have to get up there to get the sill anyway. So you might as well just I'll pull it downward and stop, about maybe 6 inches above the sill. And then when I go up to wipe the sill, I just get the last bit of the window. Okay. I've done it one way for so long. I know how to use a swivel. It's just not my standard go-to for most windows, unless it makes sense, for me. But yeah. I highly recommend devote some time to practice polling. I always tell people, if you can pull, especially on interior windows, like some exterior, you have to get nose to glass just because of the buildup. Like I said, you really have to make sure it's scrubbed right. You don't want to leave any lines with the sun on it. But interior, if you can learn to pull 90% of the glass on the interior, you save so much time not pulling a step stool in or a step ladder to get the higher windows. You can knock off literally half an hour to 45 minutes off of a job just by pulling the interior. It makes such a big difference. So invest in some time. If you're down, go find a window somewhere and just practice polling, man. It'll save you a lot of time.
Absolutely.
Yeah. What other challenges have you found? So you have dabbled in the hiring pool. Right now you don't have any employees, right? It's just you.
No.
Do you have plans on hiring once our busy season returns in October?
Once it kicks up, I'm going to look at hiring again. One of my clients, their son graduated high school as well. They wanted him to get into the trades. And I'm like, hey, like, have you ever thought of window cleaning as a trade? You know, it's not, I wouldn't say it's at the forefront when you're thinking construction, equipment operator and all this, or a welder. But yeah, I would call it in the trades 100%. And so we brought it up, and I'm like, I want to, allow someone to grow. I want to get them training. I want them to, excel. And then they go from, so much field work to leading. And then, it's building someone up, especially when you start younger. There's a lot more clear foundation to work on.
Yeah, for sure.
But, if it comes, it comes. If not, it is what it is. There's other avenues to find people.
Yeah, it is easier to hire in the fall. One, because you have the work, but two, the weather's better. So like when I hire new, if I hire someone from out of state, I typically wait until October because it gives them time to acclimate to our weather. Whenever I've hired anybody in May, April, May, June, just exactly the story. I've literally had people quit. They're on the roof or they're outside. I turn the corner and the guy's just staring out the window, and I look at him. You all right? I can't do this. I can't do this. I'm sorry. We had this one, Sarah, and she's awesome. She's followed me on Instagram for a long time, and we've just been friendly. Her and her sister had a realty business, but she has other passions. She's a ultra runner. So she's in awesome shape, right? And she's a really cool person. She's run 50 milers. I mean, she's just she is not lazy. Like she is the hardest worker you're ever going to meet. And so she was like, Gabe, I'm looking for just some part-time work. She's like, I literally just need money to support my running. She's like, I'm set otherwise. I just need a little money to pay for my travel, to pay for this and that. Would you consider hiring me part-time? I said, absolutely, 100%. So I taught her how to clean windows. She picked it up quick. I mean, she was a really quick student learning how to do fanning. Within a couple days, she was real consistent. So I was really happy with that. But unfortunately, I hired her right when we had these hospitals that we do twice a year. And so a lot of water fed, a lot of exterior work, and it wasn't hot. It was October, so it was cool now. It wasn't like cold. It wasn't in the 60s, but it was like 70s, 80s. It wasn't bad.
Okay.
And she worked for me for 2 days.
She's like, no.
She says, Gabe, this isn't going to work out. I can't do this. She's like, I can't believe how hard this is. She's like, I had no idea. I literally thought it was going to be. I said, I was like, Sarah, please do me a favor. Please do me a favor. Take the rest of the week off. Rest up. Monday, let's start again. Next week, we've got some commercial routes. I'm going to put you on those. Those are a lot easier. See if you can handle those. I really want to keep you. She's like, okay. Saturday comes. Nah, Gabe, I'm not going to do it.
Nah.
Like, I'm not coming on Monday. so yeah, if you hire them in October, you got a little better chance of easing them into it for sure. 100%. So, hey, Scott Aaronkrantz, El Presidente checked in. How you doing, man? Good to see you. So, yeah, definitely. That's the rule in Arizona. Don't try not to, unless they're experienced, and they're used to working in the desert. They're already a window cleaner. Maybe they did window cleaning before, or they work, something else, and they're used to the heat. That's different. But otherwise, you're setting them up for disappointment if you start them in May or June.
Right. I did meet one guy down at the local O'Reilly's who has a business out here, and he's an older guy, and apparently it's going a type of direction, and he might be having to close up shop. I'm like, well, if you need help or, if you're available, I'd love to talk to you. And so, having a guy in pocket, that's always cool.
Nice. Very cool. Well, we're just about out of time. One thing I did want to talk about, one, you're a cool guy, dude. I mean, you're just, when we met for lunch that one time, we didn't know each other, never talked to each other other than just on the podcast or online. We just clicked, right? I mean, we just got along really well, and we've continued to on that. What is your, so a couple weeks ago we had the Gabe's Corner episode. We talked about friendly competitors. Obviously you and I are friendly competitors. I'm willing to send you work if I got it, and I know vice versa. Is there any other people in your area? Because I know you really do focus on the northwest side of Tucson, in Marana and that area. Are there any others that you've been able to make contact with, and how has that gone with other competitors?
So there's another company out here. Do you want me to say the name, or just leave it as another company?
Yeah, go ahead.
So the other company is Supreme Window Cleaning.
I hate them. No, I'm kidding.
I'm like, well, life happens. So
no. I've not met them, but I've seen their ads. Yeah.
Okay, so they're over in Continental Ranch, and initially when you see another company, posting, like, especially directly in your neighborhood, oh no, we're gonna fight. This is this is my neighborhood. But I did the math today with chat. Okay, Tucson itself has 1.07 million homes. Okay, so for one company to cover every home in the area, you need to have 850 to 900 employees, and that's 3 houses a day. No company's going to have that. That's crazy. There's enough for all of us to eat. And so, with this company, right, I ran into him. He was across the street. I was having a bad day. Last year, 3 of my clients passed away. So, like, in our field, you get to know your clients.
You do. Yeah.
And so this one, this specific situation, it was a suicide, okay. I pull myself together. I want to go talk to him, hey, I know he knows who I am. I just want to introduce myself. Like, hey, dude, like, I'm not here to start anything. I just want to introduce myself. I'd love to go and, take you out. Let's have a beer. Let's get some tacos. Let's just talk shop. And so, like,
he might have thought you were hitting on him, dude.
So he had a good beard, man.
I'm a good looking guy.
And so, getting to know him, it gave me, the opportunity. Earlier this year, I went out to Florida for, one of my government jobs. And it wasn't on my calendar. I don't know what happened. I was supposed to clean windows for a client in Green Valley. And I had like a panic attack. I'm like, oh my gosh. I told the client, I'm like, check it out. I messed up because it was a rescheduled job as well. So this client's been talking to me for months. They're snowbirds. Wow. They've been waiting for me specifically. I told them I'll pay for half the job, but I'm going to reach out to a competitor and I'm going to have them cover for me. Excuse me. And so I reach out to them like, hey, here's the situation. I'm covering half the expenses and let me know what it's going to be. And so that they were able to take care of the job. Now, when I go to clients' homes for, say, turf cleaning, I notice windows, right? It's just what we do. Our eyes just are attracted to it. It kind of goes back to what you were saying earlier, not the full attention to detail on a first-time cleaning. And so I'll just ask, I'm like, hey, I do window cleaning as well. Who do you guys use? I can tell the window's clean, but not how it should be. And they're like, oh, it was with an S. I'm like, okay, Supreme Window Cleaning. I'm going to leave that alone. Like, I'm not here to take someone's job. They're like, no. Like, we understand why it caught your eyes. When it's time, we'll give you a call. That's not the first time I've heard it. And so it makes it difficult because, like you talked about before, we're not here to take other people's jobs. You be very upfront and you be honest with, both parties. But at a point, like, we need to hold each other to a higher standard, I feel. If we're just, I notice they come in and just see the quick money. And so it makes it difficult. But
not only quick money. I think we're running out of time here. I know we got.
I'm sorry.
No, it's okay. No, you brought up a really good subject because I think a lot of that is, and it's not only one. I've seen it in several window cleaners. They don't think their customers are smart.
No,
like they don't think they really don't think their customers will notice, and they think it's okay to skip. And I had one guy literally tell me, "Oh, that's something only window cleaners would see. The customer ain't going to see that." And I was like,
That's
right.
crazy.
You know, and
That's crazy.
I 100%. And now sometimes it is generally an accident, right? They just they're in a
100%.
rush. And I've left streaks that I go back to do a reclaim. I'm like, how did I
You're
possibly
like,
do that?
no way.
How did I not see? So I'm not like saying I never leave that at all, 100%. But the fact is, some are that's part of their SOP, right?
Yeah.
One of my guys, and I won't name the company, there's a commercial company in town that has a ton of commercial jobs. And one of my former employees used to work for them. And he told me there was a lead, the lead chief or whatever, the crew chief would drive by a parking, a building and do this. He'd go, psh, done. And they would leave. Never clean the windows, send the bill, send the invoice. Because they knew
That's wild.
that the company would not check up to see whether the work was done.
Oh my gosh. And
I just like, it happens, right?
So I hate that.
Customers are not dumb, and they may not tell you anything, and they may not say that they were unhappy or that they know this happened. Some do, but a lot don't. They just go to another company, and they go to one that actually respects them. And that's what we want to be, right? We want to be that company that they call because they know we're going to respect them. So anyways, we are out of time. Hey, dude, it is a pleasure to talk with you. I definitely will have you back on as we watch your business grow. Absolutely love to see what you're doing. And just one thing too, I'm in the same Facebook groups as you in the communities. Everybody says nice things about you. Every single person who recommends you just says that you're doing an outstanding job, and that's a credit to you and to the high quality that you have. So just keep up the good work, man. You're gonna do really well, and look forward to seeing your growth. So
absolutely appreciate it, Gabe.
Thank you guys so much for listening. We had a bunch of listeners today. I appreciate everyone who tuned in. We will be here next week. Now, I may adjust the time, just giving you a heads up. We have the IWC board meeting. It's not normally on a Tuesday, but we're having a special meeting. So it's going to end right at the time that my podcast starts. So I may bump it a little, about half an hour later. I'll definitely post about it to give you a heads up. Just to see, but if we do that, I will have it, just it might be a little bit later in the day. So we'll definitely I'll keep you appraised on that. But thanks again, Tyler, man. You have a great day. Please tell your family hi, and thanks for sharing you with us.
Yes, sir. Thank you so much for having me.
And we'll definitely have to hook up for another Chipotle burrito there. And,
yes, sir.
Catch up and see how things are going.
Yeah.
All right, man. Well, you guys take care. We'll see you next time.
Thanks, guys.